Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother, Love Ruthie. Ruth Smallshaw Ray's Letters to Her Mother, 1949, Part 42. Oberlin, Ohio, Women's Dormitory, May 15th, 1949. Dearest Mother, I honestly just don't know where the time goes, but I just woke up the other morning and amazed to realize that within 2 weeks I should have finished a huge anatomy report, prescribed reading of about 15 books in different courses, and final exams. In as far as 24 hours a day, probably wouldn't finish it all. I hate to think of the results. It just adds up to the fact that Ruthie bit off more than she could chew this semester. And here I am in Oberlin, Ohio. John mentioned that we'd drive down with Anne, Wayne, and Walter for a dance last night, but it wasn't until I saw Anne taking a bag out to the car that I realized they were intending to stay. So I threw a few things together like mad, mostly wet, as I just washed everything I owned washable. John got his new car yesterday, and talk about a flashy job. Bright blue-green Studebaker with white-wall tires and every gadget imaginable inside. The moment I saw it, I was reminded of that fellow in Florida who had a bright green car, and Dorothy Dunham remarking, "bright enough to go with my hair." So I immediately was prejudiced against it, but may get used to it. Anne and I stayed in the women's dormitories last night, and it seems amazing to have time. To just have time. The fellows went to play golf this morning, and Anne went to church, but I'm writing to you. I was so glad you liked the orchids, although to be honest, I think one is usually enough. At least most corsages here only have one orchid. However, I guess it must have looked all right and was so sweet of Buddy to go to the trouble when he was sick. I'm very glad that you were so thrilled and wished you'd taken a snap with it and the blouse on. Does the blouse look okay with your suit? I'm still in somewhat of a dilemma about courses, schools, etc., but Monday Dr. Gardner phoned Dean Robinson and said something had to be done, and what? So they decided to go to see the vice president of the university, and I had a very encouraging letter from Miss Cuthbert. I guess it'll all work out. Every day I'm more enthralled with beautiful Ohio. Oh, but the trees are lovely. Thursday we had the program for the ICEC, International Council for Exceptional Children, and had about 200 there. Dale helped me work on the program covers but got sick with fever and sore throat and has been in bed taking sulfa, sort of virus X that's going around. I helped with the babies and the program, and everyone was very complimentary about the whole thing. Afterwards we had a banquet, and it was very nice too. I'm so glad that Bud's better. Quite a few people have it here besides Dale. Friday after school, Bunny and I went to see her and took animal crackers and one each of ginger ale, root beer, Pepsi, cream soda, and 7-Up. Later, Dan and his boyfriends came in, and I met the fellow who is to be Dan's best man. He seems nice. We're going out. Went to dinner and went swimming at the quarry, and now are going back to Cleveland. I love you, and right. Love, Ruthie. 2493 Overlook Road, Cleveland Heights, Ohio, May 29th, 1949. Dearest Mother, to admit it is difficult. To ask advice as to what to do to get rid of it might not be honest, because I don't know but that if unconsciously during the years I haven't done anything to preserve it. However, John tells me that I have to do something about it. It's Ruthie's mean moods that I've had ever since I was little. I used to be mean to Pat. Something would come over me to cause a depression, and with everyone that I've ever been close to, and that I could get away with it, I have. I used to be like that with Marshall, Wade, Wade mentioned it to you, and of course you and Bud know it only too well. Now John tells me that I have to do something about it. We went to the Alpine Village last night. John had a new gray suit and said I looked very sharp. I wore the cream jacket, black skirt, and new green coat. It's a very nice nightclub, floor show and dancing girls. A man sang Whiffin' Pool and Girls and Tramp Tramp, and a roller skating act and a comedian. We were with Ann and Wayne Duff, Walton, Adele. But although I enjoyed myself so much, I found myself going into a depressive mood before we got home, so said good night and went to bed quickly, although they were all going to have coffee. After church, John was sitting on the steps when I came in and said, "Red, you look like you've lost your last friend." I said, "Me," and came in. Then I realized what a heel I was acting like. I was acting like that, so went back to apologize. He says that everyone feels moody at times, but that we have to learn to control them, and that although I'm one of the nicest girls he's ever known, it scares him to see me act like that. "Red, you're a little stinker." My roommate says it's okay to be mean and moody to people that aren't nice, but that John's too nice a person to take it out on. I can't help it. It's still inside me, and I prayed to be nice inside. Probably haven't done enough drawing lately. I usually can take most of it out in that. I have an exam tomorrow, so better study. Thank you, dear, for the money, but really, Mother, I'd have rather that you spent the money to send the laundry out and have a holiday on the 24th, rather than stay home and be a martyr, cooking, cleaning, washing, and ironing. Your time is your own, and an extra day to leave the work wouldn't have mattered. You too could have gone off and had a holiday too. Tomorrow's Decoration Day, a holiday from school, but I have to study and write an exam in the afternoon. However, I shouldn't feel like a martyr, since the school idea is my own desire. Goodbye from your crabby, moody stinker of a daughter. I probably should have got more spankings, like the time I sulked when I had to walk home from a movie. R.S. P.S. I studied all last night and up early this morning. I didn't think I'd ever learn enough, but exams are over and I'm happy. I love you, Ruthie. Dave, a fellow I went out with a month ago, phoned for a date. Then he came over, but I told Bill to tell him I was studying. John came in to ask if he could go babysitting and study with me tonight. He says he's not cross with me in spite of it all. Ruth. 2493 Overlook Road, Cleveland Heights, Ohio, June 9th, 1949. Dearest Bud, congratulations, Bud, on your 21st birthday. Today you are a man, dear. I hope that you have a very happy birthday and an especially good year, too. I just received a letter from Daddy this noon saying that he and Mother are going away for a short trip and won't be home for your birthday. That's too bad, although nice that they are having a holiday. It seems that I've been in just one big state of confusion trying to get everything done, and I'm afraid your gift may be a couple of days late. I'm posting it today and hope it's okay. Although a long time ago I planned to get you something really big for the 21st. However, finances being what they are, you'll understand. I wrote my last final exam last night, anatomy, and it was terrific. I'd only had 2 hours sleep the night before, working on my anatomy report, so that didn't help matters at all. I just have speech reports to do now, and I'll be ready to start on another round. It's almost too much at times, and I told my roommates last night that I was tempted to give it up. It's for that reason that I wanted you to go to university, right? Otherwise, it gets to be a long, tedious process. Whatever you do, though, I hope that you are really successful. There's no reason that you shouldn't be able to succeed in whatever you decide is the best thing in the world that you'd like to do. Remember, dear, You'll probably spend the rest of your life at it. We're going to Oberlin Saturday, and a week from Saturday going to Niagara Falls for Dale's wedding. I made the favors for a teacher's party last Saturday and arranged a shower for Gloria Sunday and made a cute little candy men with umbrellas shower and men with lifesaver earphones for the teachers, deaf. One of my cases gave me a Whitman sampler in appreciation. I'll write again, and I love you very much. Love, Ruthie. 2493 Overlook Road, Cleveland Heights, Ohio, June 21st, 1949. Dearest Mother, well, back to school again, and after such a wonderful holiday. Really, the weekend was just what I needed, and it was the first time that I ever felt that I wouldn't have minded staying for the honeymoon. When we left Friday, I was so tired and enmeshed with so much to do, and came back so carefree. We really had a lovely time, and maybe I mentioned it, but at Sunday breakfast they all decided that a double honeymoon would be fun. I told John that, and he didn't seem to think so much of the idea. He went home for the weekend. His family liked his car, and he came back early Sunday night. I didn't get home until about 1:30 that night, and found some beautiful roses waiting that he'd picked from his mother's garden and brought back for me. Wasn't that sweet? He said that it seemed like I'd been gone a month, that he'd missed me. Gloria left last night to fly to Washington. I'll really miss her. All the fellows gathered around and performed a mock wedding with John as the groom before she left, and John, Shintu, Dottie, and I took her down, and John bought us drinks before she left. I hated to see her go, but know she'll have a lovely wedding. I'm taking sociology and educational psychology this term. I'd rather have taken American history, but it's an 8 o'clock class, and I just dread going so early. I planned on working 5 hours a week at the clinic in return for my scholarship for one course, and thought of getting a job. But this morning Mr. Fortune called me in and asked me to work 5 more hours, which will give me a scholarship for both my classes. I'm quite thrilled that they still want me to do casework. So maybe I won't bother working outside of that, but we'll see. I think I have a wonderful opportunity. Mr. Fortune asked me to take a little deaf girl of 2 years and give her individual work. Miss Bender says I'll take her out of the nursery and try to win her confidence and play with her and try to develop her language. She has a little hearing, and it's just sort of an experiment. I'm holding my breath, so cross your fingers for me. I'm so very happy, Mother. Life really seems like it's just so full, and everything's so nice and exciting. I had a lovely letter from Bonnie and Connie, too, which made things seem nice. I love you, and write. Love, Ruth. Hotel General Brock, Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. W.A. Steed, Manager, June 19th, 1949. This letter's out of order. I'm sorry. Dearest Mother, Daddy, and Bud. Hello, dear family, and it's back in Canada again that I am, and nice it is indeed. Niagara Falls are as beautiful as ever, and I'm getting a big thrill out of seeing them all over again. I feel that the last few months I've been so lucky in going places and doing things, but then I always have. Dale and Dan were married yesterday, and I think it was very nice, but to tell you about it, perhaps I'd better go back and catch up on a few weeks. With exams and reports and school and classes, I really didn't know whether I was coming or going, and am very much afraid that I didn't do so well on my exams, and was pretty well ready to just go home and say it was too much. But my family wasn't even home then. I was surprised but very glad that you managed to take a holiday, but it seems to me that you have to go so far in the West and then really don't see much. Your cards do sound as if you're enjoying it, which is swell. But now if you lived in a good part of the country, I do so hope Buddy had a nice birthday. I hope he wasn't too disappointed that his big sister didn't come out with something more lavish for the one and only 21. I haven't heard from him, so possibly he might feel that I can understand it. Last weekend we had a party for Ann and Wayne, and then Saturday John and I drove to Oberlin. Andy drove in his car, and we went out early in the afternoon so we could go swimming. The newlyweds just phoned and want the best man and I to go to breakfast. Just before I left, Gloria had asked to borrow my small suitcase to go to Fort Wayne, so I used hers, a small cream Samsonite. And just when John, Andy, and I went to go swimming, we discovered that the suitcase wouldn't open. It was terrific, really. The whole weekend with only the dress I had on, a new little pale green cotton that I like a lot. John took the grip to the locksmith, luggage man, etc., but no go. He'd brought along his suit so we could go to church for the graduation baccalaureate sermon Sunday, but we couldn't go because I had no suit. Anne, Wayne, Adele, and Walter drove out Sunday night, and with about 6 young university fellows, we had a picnic. The other kids drove back to Cleveland, and I stayed at the women's dorm. Liz loaned me a nightie. Sunday morning, John, Andy, Carol, and I went to play golf, and on the second hole, it just started to pour. We got soaked. Dry by the fourth hole when the sun came out. It rained again, and so on. It was something, and me in my only dress, so we drove back to Cleveland. But I enjoyed it all very, very much. Wednesday night, John met me after school and took me to see Barclays of Broadway and to the Playhouse Cocktail Lounge. I began a nursery education course Tuesday and Thursday, so John drives me to class, works on his law cases, and comes back for me. Very nice. Friday school was over at noon, and Dale, Dan, Ollie, and I left at 1:30 for Buffalo and Niagara Falls. It's so nice here at the Brock, and we have a view of the falls from each of our rooms. The meals are terrific. Friday night we had dinner and a combination bachelor and spinsters party. Saturday morning, Friday night looked at the falls with the lights on them. Ollie and I went all around the falls while Dale and Dan saw the minister. Then we got ready. Dale looked just lovely. White suit, hat, and an orchid. I got a pale green suit and pink carnations. The minister came for us, and it was a very, very nice little ceremony. I was most thrilled and more excited than anyone. The church was lovely, and Dale had the minister order beautiful white flowers. We've taken a lot of colored pictures, and the minister took some in the church, so we'll be sending you some. We had dinner up in the Rainbow Room viewing the falls, a supper dance, frog's legs and champagne and Madeira wine. Really, it's just been wonderful. The kids are hanging over my shoulder now, wanting to go to the Cave of the Winds and under the falls in a raincoat. You know. We've had breakfast and are going. Ollie and I are going back tonight, and Dale and Dan staying the week. Honestly, Mother and Daddy, since Christmas I feel like I've really started to enjoy life. Dale thinks I've grown up a lot since last year, and I feel that facing problems has had a lot to do with it. I love you so much. Bev doesn't have a phone, but I may find them if they're still here. Happy Father's Day to Daddy. Dale just finished going through the phone book and found the phone number, Mongrains, where Bev lives. Love, Ruthie. Now we have one comment from the original publication by Tessa Delina, who was the former secretary at Restless Educational Center in San Juan, Metro Manila, Philippines. Dear Sir, my warmest greetings to you and your family. I enjoyed reading this particular issue, SFMC number 27, for varied reasons. I got a glimpse of the life of John and Ruthie prior to their wedding, how she deals with her problems in life, and most especially how she showed her great love to her mother, as well as to her family. I can see Ruthie at this phase in her life trying to do her best in her studies, coping with the demands of her work, attending social functions, dealing with her problems as well as coming to terms with her own self, dealing with her mean moods, and to top it all, getting to know more of John. Despite all these trying moments, she is able to manage life quite well. You are right. Ruthie and John are destined to be together as they share common interests, primarily their love for work, enjoying each other's company by way of going to movies and dances. I was quite impressed with Ruthie's sound advices and insights in her letter dated March 22, 1949. Here are some few lines in her letter which I find to be very meaningful. If he only knew that the hardest road is being good, it's much easier to be slothful and develop an inferior pattern of life. But the reward of each little achievement of trying to be industrious is so rewarding in self-satisfaction. But the thing in life is to grow to be a more responsible person. An easy life just doesn't do it. You just couldn't imagine a more beautiful place than Ohio in the spring. The trees, beautiful trees of all shades and shapes, and the grass and sky and birds. Oh, but it's beautiful. It was so much fun driving along in the breeze beside the lake and through the park. Sunday is Mother's Day in the U.S., and if so, in Canada. I'd like you to order a single orchid corsage for Mother to wear to church. If they don't have orchid corsages, then get yellow roses. Try to get it Saturday evening and give it to her in case she's going somewhere where she can wear it. Finally, let me end this letter with an insight I have learned. I guess no matter how life can get to be so difficult and trying at times, and we are faced with so many problems, we should always remember that all these will pass or come to an end. What is important is that we did our best. I am quite sure Ruthie can now look back and feel proud of all her achievements and what she did in the past and what she has become now. Thank you so much for publishing my letter dated February 14th, 1998. More power to you. Sincerely, Tessa J. Dolina. To be continued. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Good luck to you with your efforts in family history. If this interests you, finding, preserving, and sharing old letters, diaries, and photographs, and interviewing elderly relatives while they're alive, you might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History, with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care. And I'll see you next time.